The lacrosse team earned a dominating victory during their senior day fiesta. Hello, I'm Tegan Lamont.
And I'm Dana Pecora. The baseball team heads to Missouri for a 3-game series while the basketball team makes us cry. You're watching LaSalle TV's home for Explorer Athletics, SportsLine.
Welcome to SportsLine. We've got a lot of sports fun for you guys this week, including recaps and a soccer interview with men's goalie Pat McCarthy.
And later, Sam Brown hits the desk for the first time ever to break down some baseball for us in our Explorer Report.
But first, let's take a look at our SportsLine Top 3.
Number 1. LaSalle Athletics has recently decided not to renew the contract of women's basketball coach Jeff Williams. Williams led the Explorers to an 8-22 overall record with a 3-13 conference record. This came after a promising 2017 campaign where the women finished 17-13 and advanced to the quarterfinal round of the A10 tournament. Williams finished his career at LaSalle with an overall record of 92-149. In the announcement, Athletic Director Bill Bradshaw said, quote, "Jeff has given 8 years to LaSalle and we appreciate his commitment to the program. We wish him nothing but the best in the future."
Number 2, B.J. Johnson was recognized by the A10 for his outstanding performance on and off the court. Johnson was named to the All-A10 second team as well as the All-Academic team. Johnson led the Explorers this season with 20.8 points per game and with 8.3 rebounds per game. Even with an ankle injury that held him out of 5 games, Johnson still scored 20 or more points in 17 games this season. Johnson became only the 4th Explorer to earn All-Academic team since joining the A10 in 1995. He is a senior finance major and holds a 3.1 GPA. Johnson was the only player to earn both All-League and All-Academic honors this season.
And number 3, freshman Bridget Ruskey of the women's lacrosse team was named A10 Rookie of the Week after her performance against Marist College on March 4th, where the team earned a 12-9 victory. Ruskey contributed to the offensive domination with 3 goals and an assist. Ruskey has come into this lacrosse program on fire, being a dominant offensive force for the Explorers. This award marks her second A10 Rookie of the Week already this season.
Yeah, so I mean, first of all, got to talk about Jeff Williams.
Yeah.
It's a sad time. Sounds like it's probably about time for him to head out, though. I mean, he's been here for 8 years. He's had 1 winning season and has never had a winning record in the Big Five. So I think it's time for a change in coaching there.
I feel like team-wise, we see some talent, but it always seems to not come together. Yeah. So maybe this is the change that they need to, kind of give them that push forward.
Yeah, it's less of a coach thing and more of a culture thing, I think.
Yeah, definitely. And we're also talking about Bridget Ruskey.
Yeah.
She has come in to the lacrosse program as a freshman, absolutely dominating. Yeah. She has now won her second A10 Rookie of the Week, and I feel like she's not stopping there because lacrosse just started their season.
Every week that we've talked about lacrosse, we have talked about Bridget
We've talked
Ruskey.
about her. She's super important to the team and super impressive, so we hope to see her continue to do well.
Totally agree.
Well, that's all we got for headlines. Let's take a look at how our athletes fared this week.
Men's basketball wrapped up their regular season play with a trip down the street to St. Joe's, where they battled the Hawks for the 2nd time this year. The Explorers looked to take the season sweep over their A10 rivals and sought to bring their record against Big Five opponents to 4-1. Unfortunately, the Explorers weren't up to snuff in this ballgame as they fell 78-70. Typically reliable, B.J. Johnson struggled in this game, shooting a poor 4 of 17 from the floor on his way to 14 points. Pookie Powell tried to carry the team in his return to the court from a concussion and put up 26 points, but it wasn't enough. After this tough loss, the Explorers entered the A10 tournament where they tried to make a run to the big dance by taking the A10 crown. The Explorers were the 12th seed in the tournament and had to play UMass in a play-in game on Wednesday, March 8th. Unfortunately, the run was not in the cards for the blue and gold, as two late shots from Pookie Powell would not fall, and the Explorers season came to a close with a 69-67 loss to the Minutemen. The story in this game was the poor shooting from the Explorers, as they shot a poor 37% from the floor and a downright awful 6% from three-point range. The lone bright spot in this game was center Tony Washington, who tied a career high with 20 points and simply could not be stopped. Unfortunately, the Explorers turned away from the big man down the stretch and came up short.
Well, this is sad.
Well, not a good time when basketball bows out this early.
Yeah, and it was a heartbreaking loss, but the producers of SportsLine created brackets for this A10 tournament. You can see all of them on our Twitter page, but right now, Tegan and I are going to talk a little bit about ours. I am really embarrassed to say this, but Dana's first bracket choice, I had LaSalle going all the way. I really did. I was pushing for some sort of Cinderella story, trying to be, have faith there. I was painfully wrong, embarrassingly wrong. So my fellow SportsLine producers felt so bad for me that they allowed me to take a Dana 2.0 Take 2 bracket. So if we can pull that up, I have LaSalle making it to the quarterfinals and losing to St. Joe's, which was still risky, but I can't totally diss what I had. So then I have St. Joe's beating URI and playing the Bonnies in the championship. And then finally, I have the Bonnies taking the cake as the A10 championship winner. So yeah.
Yeah, I had a little bit less luck with the redo, and I did not get a second bracket and was still very, very wrong. I had LaSalle reaching the semifinals after a win over St. Joe's, then falling to URI. Down in the bottom of the bracket there, I had the Bonnies and Davidson staying pretty chalk, working all the way through their brackets. Then I had Davidson taking the win over the Bonnies for a Davidson URI championship, where I had Davidson winning. I was very hopeful. I still am very hopeful for 3 teams out of the A10. Really need a team other than St. Bonaventure or URI to win the championship for that to happen. I think both of those 2 teams pretty much make March Madness. Hopefully, like I said, we can get a Davidson, or maybe even UMass can make a run. I know they won their game earlier today.
All right, so that does it for our brackets. Now let's look at how our other athletes did. LaSalle sent 2 representatives to NCAA Zone A championships at Rutgers University on Tuesday. Dylan Urasitz competed for the men's team and took 23rd place in the 1-meter dive with 259.65 points. He also placed 32nd in the 3-meter dive with 234.10 points. Urasitz broke school and conference records to win both events at the A10 championships a few weeks ago. He most recently won the 1-meter dive at the ECAC diving championships. Sydney Zopo competed for the women's team and finished 40th in the 1-meter dive with 203 points. She also placed 42nd in the 3-meter dive against some of the best athletes in the country. Zopo placed 4th at the ECAC championships a few weeks prior.
The LaSalle men's and women's track teams competed in the ECAC championships over the weekend. There, senior Anthony Hawthorne set a new school record with his first place finish in the 800-meter with a time of 1 minute and 50.25 seconds. Hawthorne and grad student Chris Sanders both qualified for the 800-meter run, while senior Justin Gare advanced in the 60-meter dash. Gare finished the final in 8th place with a time just under 7 seconds. On the women's side, senior Ifateo Tyler was the only explorer to compete on Saturday. She finished 20th in the 800-meter run with a time of 2 minutes 11 seconds. Sophomore Jessica Bryant finished 6th in the triple jump with a mark of 11.52 meters.
Moving on to baseball, Kansas State swept LaSalle in a 3-game series. The Explorers struggled in Game 1, committing 3 errors and leaving 10 runners on base. Matt Holt also had some struggles on the mound. Holt lasted 6 1/3 innings and gave up 9 hits and 6 runs, 4 of which were earned. The Explorers were defeated by a score of 9-3. Game 2 was sent into extra innings. LaSalle took a 9-8 lead in the top of the 9th, but it wouldn't last. In the bottom of the inning, Kansas State's Rainer Osmus hit a solo shot to tie the game. Both teams would score a run in the 10th, but an RBI double in the bottom of the 11th won the game for Kansas State. Game 3 rolled along, and the Explorers were only able to score 1 run, which came in the top of the 8th. Chase Arnold hit a single, and Ben Fazo came around to score. LaSalle lost 5-1.
The softball team won its first 2 games of the season this weekend at the Madeira Beach Invitational. LaSalle topped both Buffalo and Loyola Chicago on the first day of the tournament. Junior Emma Schweigert got the offense going for the team with a solo shot in the first inning, and LaSalle took home a 3-2 victory. Schweigert's name was again called against Loyola, smacking a go-ahead homer in the top of the 5th to top the Wolves 3-2. The next day, LaSalle fell to Northern Kentucky by a score of 3-1, with the lone run coming on a single from sophomore Emily Conaway. On Sunday, the women lost to Alabama State 6-2. One bright spot for the Explorers was freshman Megan Orlowski, who limited ASU to 1 run in 5 innings of relief. Finally, LaSalle fell to SIUE despite a brief scoring surge in the 7th by a final score of 7-2.
With a spectacular senior day performance, the lacrosse team defeated Marist College 12-5. Facing a 4-1 deficit early on, a pair of goals from senior Brittany Edwards and a goal from Bridget Ruski tied the game at 4. A freshman scoring trio of Ruski, Hope, Smith, and Anina Yakabuchi pushed the Explorers to a 7-5 advantage at the half. In the second half, the Explorer momentum did not stop. Another decisive goal by Yakabuchi brought the game down to its final minutes. Both Yakabuchi and sophomore Mickey Raymond found the back of the net to bring the game to a well-fought close. On the defensive side of the field, Explorer efforts were led by junior Courtney Schultz, and the Explorer net was guarded by none other than goalkeeper Lynn Frankel, who performed fantastically with 15 saves.
Yeah, so I mean, first of all, I'll go back to softball real quick. Emma Schweigert seemed like she had a pretty good week, a nice tournament, I should say. Anytime you can hit a couple home runs in a tournament and give your team a boost to a couple wins, it's a good week.
Yeah, and going back to lacrosse a little bit, they are doing well for themselves. I really like the way that they're starting out for their season. I think it has largely part to do with their 17 freshmen,
right.
One of which we already talked about, are Bridget Ruski, who I feel like we're going to be talking about a lot.
Yeah.
She has played a
4 years
big
of
role.
talking about her.
Yeah, 4 years talking about her. I'm excited for that.
Yeah.
Everyone just seems to be gelling, and, you know, they had a great senior night, and I'm glad that they got the win for that.
Yeah,
so. That does it for this week's recaps, but stick around because when we come back, Steven Silvestro will be giving you an early preview of men's soccer with sophomore midfielder Pat McCarthy. Welcome back. Steven Silvestro sat down with men's soccer midfielder Pat McCarthy. Take a look.
Welcome to On the Sideline this week. This week I have a great guest here. I got Pat McCarthy from the men's soccer team. All right, Pat. You guys had a great season, but it seemed like you guys had slow starts coming into the beginning of the year. You lost 3 in a row, and then when you started A-10, you also lost 3 in a row. What was going on with these slow starts in the game?
I think that's just something you're going to deal with as a team. You know, in the beginning of the season, we had some great opponents, like maybe even top 25 teams that were getting votes at least. And then the A-10 is tough. You know, you can't slip up at all because everyone's good and everyone's looking for wins. But I think it was important as a team for us to play through that and get some wins together after that.
All right, for the wins, You came up big. You had 3 goals this season, and they could not come at more important times. You scored in the 87th minute against Drexel, and that was the game-winning goal. And then you scored twice against George Washington, one in the 88th minute and one in the 89th. That was also a tie game before you showed up. What was going on in those situations that you got such good opportunities?
Just being like a sub and coming in and being in those special times like crunch time, I just tried to make the best of my opportunities, and it worked out well for me, and I did what I was supposed to do, put the ball in the back of the net.
Now, one thing with that is you were 6th in points this year, but you were only 2nd of the returning players. Like, you got a lot of seniors. You got 10 seniors leaving this season. How are you guys going to shift away from, losing 10 different players?
I think it's going to be a team effort. Obviously, we're going to have to really step up because anytime you lose seniors, it's tough. But hopefully they've shown us the ropes enough, and we're ready to take on this next challenge. Does the team looking together around one specific, you looking to center around Mark Tobin? He's the sophomore, and then you got Keys, you got Soji, and you got Carollo. Who are you guys looking to lead this team next year with Robinson and them leaving? With like you said, with Tobin, him and Cameron Keys, the 2 goalies, I think those 2 are really going to push each other, and we're going to have a great spot in that goalie, whether it's Cam or Mark playing. But I think, like I said, it's just going to be a team effort because losing 10 guys, we're all going to have to step up and really come together and work it out.
All right. Also, going back to your 3 goals, that led to you getting the Soccer 6 Player of the Week twice. One thing I noticed was us congratulating you on our Twitter was the most thing we've had on our Twitter this year. It's how big was it for those 2 weeks?
It's amazing. Anytime you're honored and get an award, it's humbling. You feel very proud for what you did, and then the support from back home or whoever else may have liked the tweet. I appreciate that, and they've been with me all this time.
Yeah, I noticed we got retweeted by your county's weather Twitter. That was the fun one. That's one I had to look up to make sure it was the right place.
Yeah, it's a friend of mine who runs the account. So yeah.
One thing that's big with the assistant coaches, the volunteer assistant coach, is your brother, and he's also a professional player for the Philadelphia Union. How does his view? Because he's got more experience, obviously professional with the Philadelphia Union. What does he bring to the coaching staff?
Well, obviously he just brings a lot of knowledge about the game and his energy every day because he's a competitor. When we're playing, he wants us to do our best. And I think he serves as a role model as well, Shows hard work pays off, and this is what could happen if you work hard, And he's just great to have around overall. His energy is probably the main thing I'd say.
All right. Also, your assistant coaches, LaSalle is losing. I think he's been an assistant coach for almost 20 years here. Bob Wilkinson, he's going to Moravian to be the head coach. What will him leaving? What kind of impact do you think that'll have towards the team?
It's tough because Coach Wilk's a great guy and he's even better coach. But we're all happy for him that he's getting this job. But we got to move forward, and we hope him the best, and the same for us.
All right. For next, going into this off season and next year, you guys were you were 1 game out of going into the A10 tournament. What are you guys this off season working on to make sure to? Because you're losing all the. What are you guys working to get that 1 game difference?
I think it's just playing a full game, Whether we come out strong and end slow or start slow and finish strong, we just have to bring it completely together and bring it for a full 90 minutes. I think that if we bring that throughout the season, then we'll be successful.
All right. So, obviously you're going to have your own personal goals for next season. What are you looking personally to do next season?
I would like to get back into the starting lineup like freshman year, but then again, if my role is going to be coming off the bench, I'm just going to do my best and do anything I can to get our team back in that tournament.
All right. Thank you for joining us for On the Sidelines. Always welcome back to SportsLine. All right, that's all I have for this week's On the Sidelines. Back to the desk.
Thank you, Steven, for that interview. So I think it's pretty cool and something worth mentioning that his brother is a professional player and he came back to help. I mean, he went to LaSalle. He came back and is helping assistant coach, and that's really cool because you don't really see professional players coming back like that.
Right.
His brother John is the backup goalie for the Philadelphia Union. So I think that's really cool. And I think that it seems like they're close, so, you know, that must be really cool for them to be able to do this together.
Right, and it's an experience for Pat too, I'm sure. I'm sure he's never, I mean, other than maybe his dad coaching him growing up, having family on the sidelines is a pretty special thing. It's not something that most players get to come across.
Yeah, definitely.
Another thing that I feel like is very important to mention is that they're losing 11 players. That's real tough. They're losing 10
really
seniors
tough.
and a grad student. So it's not an easy thing to bounce back from. They're also,
these are strong seniors.
right, yeah, there's a lot of players there that have been big-time contributors to the team.
Yep.
They need a few guys to step up. Mark Tobin, Soji Alatoye, and Cameron Keys are 3 guys that are really going to be key for them moving forward.
Yeah.
And then they've also lost an assistant coach who was here for 24 years. That's like I was talking about with Jeff Williams earlier. It's a culture change.
Yep.
He wasn't fired, but it's still a change in the culture when somebody that's been here that long
Obviously
steps
well
away.
liked for 20 years.
Right.
So
To be anywhere for 24 years, you've done something. You've really made a statement with that school.
definitely. Well, thanks again to Stephen and Pat. When we come back, Sam Brown will join us on desk for this week's Explorer Report. Stay tuned.
What's up? Eddie Dunn here, host of LaSalle's favorite TV game show, Q&A. I'm here to tell you to keep watching LaSalle TV. It's on 24 hours a day, every day. You know what else is on 24 hours a day, every day? Nothing. Well, maybe some things, but nothing that's as important as LaSalle TV. So keep watching, or else.
Hey, what's up?
But I am beyond drunk and I am so hungry. You wanna go get something to eat?
Yeah, we had like 2 drinks.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, yeah, meet me outside my house in like 5 minutes.
Yeah, I'll meet you at your house. Okay.
What's up, man? Come on, my God, you're so drunk. Just get in my car. Let's go.
Whoa, you're swerving.
I'm fine. You're the drunk one. I only had 2 cups. That's it.
I'm drunk. I thought you were drunk.
I'm not drunk. If I was drunk, I wouldn't be driving. It was just 2 beers. It's not going to do anything.
There's plenty of LaSalle sports action this upcoming week, so let us welcome Sam Brown for this week's Explorer Report.
Thanks, Dana. For this week's Explorer Report, the baseball team will head out to the Midwest this weekend to take on the Tigers at the University of Missouri for 3 games. The Explorers have had a shaky start to the season with a record of 4-7, while the Mizzou Tigers come into this series boasting a 10-3 record. LaSalle will have to hold their ground defensively to be able to make it out of this series with a win. The pitching staff currently holds an earned run average of 5.79, but however, offense has not been a major problem thus far. A major key for this series is to tighten up on pitching, as well as for junior outfielder Ben Fazer to stay hot at the plate. Winning this series could be a major morale booster for LaSalle if the Explorers get the job done this weekend.
Thank you. So, they're going to play Missouri, and that's kind of scary. That's a little intimidating. They're doing really well. Can you just break it down? Like, why is Missouri playing so well?
I have to say that Missouri is playing very well, simply just due to team chemistry, because they are blowing out teams. They beat Florida International University 22-1, and that's not something you do just on offense, because when you're blowing out a team by that much, the defense is also holding down the fort. So it's team chemistry for them, and that's something that LaSalle should maybe work on.
Yeah.
A 22-1 victory doesn't happen often if you are not putting in the work as a pitching staff, as a coaching staff, any part of the team. 22-1 is a win that really stands out, I think.
And real quick, knowing how good this Missouri's team is, let us know what it would mean if LaSalle could at least pull out one victory in this 3-game series.
So the Tigers are currently sitting at 3rd place in the SEC Eastern Division, which is a very competitive division. The last place team, the Tennessee Volunteers, are sitting at 8-6. So every team in that division's got a winning record. So to be able to beat a team in a division that competitive, that would be very uplifting for the Explorers.
Definitely.
Yep, totally agree.
So we did do picks of the week. We didn't do scores, but we predicted how the series would kind of turn out. So let's head to Tegan for the first one.
I am not so confident in the Explorers' ability in this series. I have them getting swept by Missouri. It'll be their 2nd straight series that they get swept in. They lost to Kansas State in 3 straight. I've got them losing again 3 straight to Missouri.
Well, you know me. I always like to be a little positive, clearly. So I'm going to go with LaSalle wins just 1, while Missouri takes the other 2. I'm feeling that.
Anything can happen.
Yeah, anything can happen.
Yeah, and I'm going to take the same pick as Dana. I agree with her in terms of wanting to stay positive, but, you know, like I said, a team like Missouri in that division that they're playing in, sitting where they are, it'll be a tough task for the Explorers to be able to play consistently this weekend against a team that's been playing as well as they have.
Yep.
That just about wraps it up for us this week. If you can't make it out to the Explorer Report, be sure to tune in next week for our coverage. Keep up with this weekend's other sporting events by visiting goexplorers.com or check out this week's edition of the Collegian.
Also, check us out on Facebook at facebook.com/LaSalleTV and on Twitter at SportsLine LTV. We welcome you to send us your thoughts and suggestions there.
For Steven, Sam, and our entire SportsLine team, I'm Tegan Lamont.
And I'm Dana Pecora. Thanks for joining, and we'll see you at the game.